Like they are not going to be able to pay their bills if they're trying to do this for a living. If that's their only strategy, if they're not betting thinly enough, if they're over trapping and never raising all in, check raising all in as a bluff, it's like the game gets so easy because you're like, oh, you are not capable. And you have to be disrespectful, right? You have to be disrespectful and say, hey, you are not capable of fucking bluffing me here or even betting thin enough for value. So I'm just gonna fold. And like, fuck that. I would show them. I would fucking show them. Be like, dare them to bluff you, right? Be like, yeah, I'm folding fucking nuts here, King 10. Fuck you. I don't give a shit. Fuck you. Like, you have to be disrespectful. Like, just imagine you trap, right? With your deuces, you check raise the river and someone shows you King 10. You're like, what the fuck? You're supposed to call there. Yeah. And I'm just like, and you're not being a pussy. It's like, you're not being a pussy. You're literally being like, fuck you. Here's King 10. Just fucking like windmill it in their face. And yeah, you lost like $100 or 150, whatever. How many? $350 in the river. So what? You didn't lose 1,500 on that hand, right? And then when you have them coolered and you jam your kings and they snap call you with deuces, you make it all back times 5, right? And when you only bet pot with your kings because you want them to call, right? And you see that they have deuces and they just call and they don't raise you, then, or if they have, a hand like 10-8 or king 3 or, something like that, and they don't raise you, you hate yourself for fucking not jamming. You're like, oh, I should get greedy. And it doesn't matter if they don't call, even if it's a fucking session where, you haven't been winning a lot of pots and you really just want to get paid on the river because it feels good. It's a dopamine hit. Fuck that. Just if you can fucking cooler the very top of their range and like they're really tight and they have really strong hands in their range still, like go for it. Fucking. All right. So this player over traps. What do we know when the big blind gets this river, goes check, check, and you see pocket sixes? Probably going to call the river. What we definitely can say is that this opponent overcalls double barrels, right? And this is the player that you're going to find the most, right? So a general rule of thumb is that if your opponents will not fold, generally you want to position, the exploit is to position yourself tighter so that more of the time you have value in your range and not bluffs, right? Does that make sense? So if I'm against a bunch of calling stations, right? I'm not ISOing with 9-6 offsuit or 9-6 suited, right, from the button. Because I know that they're going to have 9-10, 9-jack, 9-queen, 9-king, 9-ace. They're not going to 3-bet. They're mostly fishy. They're going to have, ace-6, king-6, queen-6 suited, like all of these hands, right? So when I hit my 9, it's like, yeah, I could get some value, but not that much, right? And most of the time, I'm just not going to hit. I'm not going to hit my straight. I'm not going to hit my flush. So what is the merit of playing a hand that I won't get a lot of value from, right? Like I won't hit often enough to actually get some value, right? And they're like, I can't get a bluff through, right? So the more they're going to call, the more I'm going to tighten up a little bit because the hands that are really good, like 5-4 suited, they're not going to really hit that often, right? Especially if I know that we're going to go multi-way a lot, right? Because when you're going multi-way and you have 5-4 suited, like the value really isn't to be had that much from your flush. It's really only from your straights, because when you have 5-4 suited, pretty much every single flush combo beats you, right? So if a lot of money is going in the pot and you have 5-4 suited and it's multi-way, meaning that people are more likely going to have, flushes than if it were heads up, the implied odds actually come back to fuck you. It's reverse implied odds. So, yeah. So if I see this and I know that my opponent is overcalling double barrels with 6s, 5-4s, 3s, right? I am value betting so much thinner on this turn, right? Because I know they're overcalling, right? And I'm likely to check back stuff that has pretty shitty equity, like well, definitely. I'm thinking maybe like some gut shots that usually should get them to fold. Like, say, what are we at? We're at, like, say I have say I have 7-9, right? Sorry, say no, 7-9's an open under. Say I have 9-6 here, which I may have or may not have in the button, and I know they're gonna call 5s, 3s, deuces, 6s. It's like maybe I'm not going to barrel again because that's the exact hand that I want to fold when I barrel twice, right? Now, if they're overcalling with ace highs and then folding, right? Like if they're floating with a lot of ace highs and then folding, which they should be, right? That's great. Then I should be double barreling. If they are calling a double barrel with ace high, then I likely should be shutting down a lot, or I should be getting prepared to bluff them big on the river when the hands in their range don't improve. But if they're calling 2 streets to 3 streets, what I'm doing is I'm tightening up my range, being a little bit more value centric, and bluffing just with hands that have really good equity, like open-ended straight draws, like flush draws that turn flush equity, stuff like that. Does that make sense? Yeah, I think that it's. I mean, if we get to um, if we get to the river here and I have queen 9 and I think they still have 6s, 5s, and 4s in their range, right? I think that a lot of players, even if they are fishy, they're not going to look you up as much as they should with those hands. If you overbet like 150%, right? And that's actually a hallmark of a big thing. It's like when you're on the river here and you do have a bluff and they have all these weak hands in their range, right? You have to choose the size that'll get them to fold. Betting half pot here versus a sticky player that's just going to call your 6s, that's stupid. That's a bad play. Betting 125% pot so they fold their 6s, right? That is the best case scenario, right? The best case scenario is when they call weak on the flop, they call weak on the turn, and they fold the river. That's the best bluff you can get, right? But if they are going to call more with weak shit, all of your low equity bluffs, like gut shots that only have 4 or 3 outs to improve, like you really unfortunately want to shut those bluffs down a little bit early, because sometimes you're going to get lucky and you're going to hit the nuts, right? Or you're going to hit a 3-outer on them. Like if they have 6s and you have 9-7, sometimes you're going to hit a 7, sometimes you're going to hit a 9, right? But you can't bank on the fact that the 7, the 9, or the 8 are going to, or 10 are going to come, or whatever it is. Your straight's going to come in. So really you check back because they're likely to call. Um, so you're just bluffing stuff like open enders, like two overcards to the board with a straight draw, like something where you just have a lot of equity to improve. And when you don't have a lot of outs, right, you're just like shutting down and getting lucky. If they check again, like maybe you could overbet, try then, but sometimes you just got to give it to them. Like if they're going to call, there is no reason to try to bluff them out of the pot, right? So now you are looking at two things, like this binary thing. Are they likely to call? Are they likely not to call? Right? So now if you're scared about bluffing in general, right, you now are looking for two different spots where they're unlikely to call or where they're likely to call, right? So if someone has a strong range with strong hands still in their range, we're probably not doing a whole lot of bluffing. If they're weak and they will routinely fold rivers, you can do a lot of bluffing. You can do shameless bluffing. You could overbluff as much as you fucking want because they're just going to auto fold so much of their shit hands. Right? So now, if you have any qualms about when you should bluff, I always get called when I do bluff, like all this shit. If you start looking for places where they're weak, they're wide, right? They're weak and they're wide, right? They just don't have a lot of strong hands. And you know this not because of GTO, but you know this because of the player. Because this player would always raise deuces. I'm not saying this player because this player doesn't. But if we know they just have no strong hands in their range and they're just going to fold to a very large bet, it doesn't matter what hand we have in our hand, right? Doesn't matter if it's the perfect combo to turn into a bluff. All that matters is that we know they're weak and they're wide and they're most likely going to fold, right? So we look for those places and that gives us the green light to bluff. And now you're turning bluffing, which may be a thing that's very scared, right? That makes you like hesitant to do it. And now you're just doing it all the time and you're fucking printing, right? But we hit our heads when we're in a 3-bet pot and they have so many traps like sets, or sometimes they're trapping aces or kings and they're never folding in a million years. And we're trying to bluff our straight draw or our flush draw, right? And we just run into this massively nutted range where like everything they have beats us. We're like, why the fuck did I bluff there? You know, you're like, I'm never going to bluff again, right? He's like, of course he had it. Well, it's like, it's by design that he had it because you were bluffing into a really nutted range. Don't do that, you know? So these are the things that we start looking for. And this is how we deduce that we are like looking for the right step. So when we're taking our hand histories and we're looking, hey, villain showed this, it's like, wow, they got to the river with this. What does that mean? Right? Like, what does that mean? And what can we do about it? All right. So that's 2. This opponent overcalls double barrels. Let's look at 3, right? When they have Queen 10 offsuit and they called on King 8 deuce, when they called twice. So what happened was that they floated with Queen 10 offsuit, right? And under, and a couple of backdoor straight draws. And then they turned the 10, right? And then it went check, check, right? What do we know about this villain? Or sorry, what do we know about the big one? You're just right. They just overcall flop C bets, right? Now, I'll tell you this: if you had Queen 10 of diamonds, if you had Queen 10 of hearts or Queen 10 of clubs, this is a fine call, right? But having Queen 10 offsuit and having a spade in your hand is just shitty, right? Spades suck. Like spades are not doing anything on this board. So yeah, calling this flop is an overcall, right? Is a massive overcall. So you know that they're getting normally to the turn with a lot of shitty hands, right? This is how we start developing knowing when a player is wide is when they're calling these bets, right? Like they're never being aggressive with them. They're just calling, trying to go runner with an under, like two undercards to the board. Like that is sorry, two undercards to the top of the board. That's just awful with no backdoor flush draws, just some backdoor straight draws. It's like, what are they trying to do? Like hit a queen and call down? Like that sucks. So you know if they show queen 10 offsuit that they are overcalling flop C bets, meaning that they are going to get to the turn wide, meaning that we could bluff them more. In this case, right, they ended up hitting a 10, but we could bluff them more. What happens when this big blind shows king 4 offsuit? Before that, yeah, this player is calling way too wide pre-flop, like with hands that are just dominated, right? It's like, what are you hoping to do? Get value from king 3 when you hit your king? Like, what's the plan here? Like, what we want to think about and what we looked at a little bit last week, we were saying that every single hand in your range has a function, right? At any point, any hand in your range should be able to go all in for value or a bluff, right? It just that is the function of GTO. That's how poker works. That if necessary, your hand can go all in. That is why we play the game. It's called no limit hold'em, right? And it doesn't just have to be the nuts. With some hands it is, but other hands like we saw 5-4 is break even, but a lot of that EV gained back to zero is from bluffing. And sometimes it's going all in the river. So if you're just playing hands to play small pots to, you know, hit a king, and like if you have king 4 and no one else has a king, then like great, you want a small pot. It's worthless because most of the time when a lot of money is going in the middle, you're going to be coolered, you're going to have to fold, or you're going to call, you're going to lose, right? um, yeah, you have a little bit more two pair than you normally should, but usually that two pair is not coming. And every single time you call, you're leaking because you're never getting value. You're always getting owned. So when you see king 4 offsuit and you're like, oh, this guy is king 4 offsuit, you say he just calls too wide pre-flop. What happens when big blind shows king queen of clubs? Yes. So if they're under 3-betting pre-flop, what does that mean? When okay, so they do have okay, no, you're actually right, right? So they do have stronger hands like king queen, and they do have stronger hands like ace jack offsuit or ace jack suited sometimes, right? So you can't discount that out of their calling range. But when they're raising, if they're not 3-betting king queen suited, at that point it's just like ace queen plus and like pocket, tens or pocket jacks, So like they're so nutted because think about this. Besides big blind, button is the widest open, right? We're opening 36% of hands. We're opening offsuit sevens. Sorry, offsuit nines and suited sevens. We're opening jack 7. if you're not three betting king queen suited, you're probably doing something very wrong, right? So if villains are only raising tens plus and ace queen plus, right? We take that into account going to, post flop. And it's like, hey, maybe ace queen offsuit is actually just a laydown here, right? Maybe it's just a laydown because we're just not doing that well. Maybe we're actually going to try to call with some other hands, because what do we also know about this game? And I'll tell you a hand that I played. Which was great. I'm in the button and small blind three bets me. I have ace three of diamonds, and it comes 5-4. No, it comes 4-3 deuce of diamonds. Oh, sorry. No, sorry. It goes 4-3 deuce with two diamonds. No, with one diamond, right? Yeah. No, I have a pair, I have a gut shot, and a runner diamond draw, exactly, right? Villain bets, right? Because he's in the small blind, right? Yeah, well, it's not a donk. He C bets because he was the aggressor, but yeah. Because he raised me, right? It comes the jack of diamonds. So now I have no. Now I have the draw. Like, I just have a monster draw and the low pair, right? Um, and he goes all in, right? And I call, obviously, because I can't fold at that point. Like, I don't care if he has aces, I can't really fold, right? Or if he has kings, like, I'm in a great spot. I have an ace, I have like two pairs, I have trips, I just have so many outs, right? So I call, and he turns over two black pocket sevens. So what I know is that if they have an overpair on the flop, they don't care what the fucking board is. They think that's the nuts. They're not checking that board back. They should be checking that board back so much. On the flop, yeah, on the flop, they should be checking that board back so much. And because of 5-4, pocket threes, pocket deuces, like, there's so much. It just hit because they don't have pocket threes there. They don't have pocket fours there. They don't have pocket fives there. So if, say he had aces, right? And he goes bet and then jam, right? Right, bet flop, jam turn, right? Do you know how profitable it is for me to call his three bet with 5-4 suited pre-flop, or pocket fives, or pocket fours, or pocket threes, or pocket deuces, or pocket sevens, or pocket sixes? Like, if, like, these guys overvalue those hands on every single board, right? Yes, they overvalue and overpair to the board so much that really the only way to stack them is to crack their hands, right? So if they give me a good price to speculatively peel 150 big blinds deep with 5-4 suited, I'm going to do that so much easier and quicker than calling ace queen offsuit. Because if they have pocket kings and an ace come and I beat them, we're not winning a big pot, right? Right? We're not going to get them to call with pocket kings for like 150 big blinds. If it comes 5-4 jack, we're getting all their fucking money. And I have 5-4 because they're putting in all their money. They're never folding aces, and we're just going to fucking destroy them. If it comes 6-3 10 and they bet and then we call and a deuce comes, they're never putting us on fucking 5-4. They're always putting us on like queens or like kings or like, ace king or something, right? And we're just getting all their money. So how it actually looks in the chart is that when they are, and I'll show it to you. Are we done with this one? We're done with this one. I hope you like this one because I think this is actually a really good like this is gold, and I really should have started you on shit like this, but this is really good. So where's my wizard? And let me go to this. Let's go to the range builder. Right. Let me know if you could see any of this, if you want it bigger, if you want it smaller. We don't know yet. We don't know yet. I think it was like smaller was better for you. Oh, what it was is that I think it's smaller, and then I present just the window. Okay, great. Okay, so if they are raising, three betting me, no, we're not. I mean, no, we're just right now. We're just looking at a range, and we'll go through for the last 30 minutes. We'll go through a node lock. So I'll show you, like I'll show you that last hand that we did. So let's say this is the extent of a really tight player's three betting range, right? Let's just say anywhere for right now, right? But yes, we can use the same thing. Button, sorry, on let's say big blind versus button. Let's just use that example because yeah, and like this is the range that they are three betting you with, and nothing else, right? This is big blinds, yeah, three betting range. Say they're doing it with this. What is the benefit of calling ace jack offsuit? Right? Yeah, what's the benefit of calling ace queen offsuit? Right? It's just like that's the bottom of their range. So either they're crushing you with their pairs or they're beating you. Sometimes they have ace jack, but it's like you just fold, right? Now what is the benefit of calling with ace five suited? That is very true. Yeah. It's better than the right. Okay. And you brought up a really like, we don't care about the strength of our ace. What we care about is the strength of our wheel draw and the strength of our nut flush draw. Right? Not that they have a lot of second nut flush draws that can pay us off. They have king queen, right? So you're not going to get cooler a lot. But the thing is that they just overvalue and can't fold aces, right? Or kings. They can't fold over pairs. So what is the value of ace seven suited? Just the nut flush. So it's really not that great, right? And you have to do then, and I'll tell you this right now is that the worst hands in poker that will get you into trouble the most, right? These hands. Ace nine off, ace eight off, ace seven off, and ace six off. Because they have an ace when a lot of money's going in the pot, they're likely crushed, right? And they have no straight possibilities, right? Except for four liners. Every hand has a four liner, right? But we start now looking to segregate our range where it's so far away from their range, right? It's so far away from their range. So, what am I calling with? I'm calling sevens, I'm calling sixes, I'm calling fives, I'm calling fours, I'm calling threes, I'm calling deuces, I'm calling 6-5 and 5-4, 7-6. I am calling sometimes like 7-5 and 6-4. Not as much, especially if they're really tight. But if I know there's gonna overvalue shit, and if I just hit on them, I'm getting paid. It's like these are the hands that I'm starting to call with, and everything else is a leak. Everything else is a leak. Like stuff like King 5 suited, it makes second nut flush draws, and you're gonna get coolered more than you're gonna cooler, right? And King 5 doesn't have any straight possibilities, right? So we're looking for hands that are going to crack them, and the hands that are going to crack these big, massive hands, right, are hands like 7-6, 6-5, 5-4, right? So now we're going into node locking, right? This is where the fucking magic starts, right? And then we'll end for the day. Okay. So what we're gonna do is I first really want to look at why am I in this now study? Okay. I just want to look really quickly at a GTO solve, right? Which is button raise. What is going on here? Let me just go back. Sorry. Just restart this. Okay. Oh, we're going 4x, aren't we? Sorry. Solution library. Let's do 4x. Let's do 150. Okay, so around the button here, raising this, and the big blind, and I'll explain three betting strategy, full three betting strategy to you, and why we fold hands. I mean, three bet hands like 10-7 and King 6. Even though we'll explain that at a different point. Just if you're wondering that, know that I will come back to it. And say they make it. See how they're not going 4x, they're going 4.5x. See how it goes from 4 to 18? Yeah, in big blinds, right? They're going from 4 big blinds. The big blind is now raising 18, not 16. See how it's raising 16? Yeah. So big blind, small blind always raises 4x, right? While big blind raises 4.5x. It has to do with the composition of their range, but it's a different concept. It's when we get into three betting that we will talk about it. But they're raising 18, right? Look at all these hands that in the GTO solve, right, are already folding. Ace Jack offsuit, they're just like, I can four bet it, I can call, I can fold. Like it sucks, right? Like when it does all three things, it means that no option is good. No option is good enough to it literally what this means is that we are exactly, when we look at the EV of it, it's exactly zero, right? It's like exactly zero, where these zeros are actually minus, right? You see that on the right? It's like these zeros are actually minus. This is just absolutely so close to zero that it's like, I don't know what to do. And it's like every option is bad. So I'll just choose all three at some different frequency. But, and this is really interesting, right? That sixes, sevens, these hands are really good. This is big blind 3-bet, right? Exactly. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So the button is going to call, right? If I told you the flop is 7, 6, 5, don't do it. Don't look. Can you see it? Don't look. Don't see it. I have to delete this flop. Okay. If I told you it was 7, 6, 5 two-tones, how often? Yeah, there it is, right? How look how often the big blind is betting. None. Do you think that's ever happening in your game where the average player says, I have pocket aces, I want to protect, right? I want to protect. 7, 6, 5, they are never betting. Why? Because they don't have 8, 9. They have such little 8, 9. They don't have 7, 6. They don't have 7, 6s or 5s. They can't bet, right? So what it elects to do is strengthen its entire passive range by checking everything, right? So what does that mean we get to do? On this board, as the pre-flop caller, we get to bet so much. Now, I just wanted you to see that's how these low connected flops are supposed to work, right? Now let's go to an AI solve, right? And what we're going to do, this is the big blinds range. So we are going to clear this range and we are going to start building it with, what do we say, jacks plus, king, queen. Mm-hmm. Ace jack suited was 50%. I remember that. And that's literally all we had. Okay. So this is an extremely tight range. Literally nothing we could do when we're calling is going to make any sense. Like we can't play this range that well at all. Right? I'll show you. And this is still not node locking yet, but say we created this solution. Right? Okay. So now on this board, it's betting a little bit more, but say we just take a random board, right? Let's just go random. I said random, not the same fucking, not the same, yeah, not the same exact board. Can you please make a random board? Okay. Even 7, 5, 3, not 7, 6, 4, or whatever it was. Now there's betting 100% because our range is so wide and weak that most of the time we're just going to miss, right? So once again, if they're wide and weak, we get to bet. If they are, tight, we don't, and they have a lot of strong hands, we don't get to bet as much. Because one, we're out of position, and two, we don't want to inflate the pot where we can be beat a lot, right? And as a defensive measure, out of position, the best thing we can do sometimes is check. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remake this illusion with what I think I would call, right? And what I would call, right? Front, on the button, so I'm not calling that. I'm not calling this anymore. I am, yeah, still calling the Broadways, right? But these I'm not calling. These I'm calling probably, to tell you the truth, I'm probably splitting some of these with a 4-bet. Sometimes, I'm probably not. No, because they're too strong. They're never folding, so we're never bluffing. So I would say, I'd say I'm probably like calling 0 ace deuce, right? I am really not calling anything that just isn't Broadway, right? Um, 10-9, I'm not. This is great, right? So 10-9, I am not calling. King Queen off, I'm not calling. Ace King, it really depends, but like I'm probably maybe sometimes maybe half and half I'm calling. Ace um Ace King suited, I'm calling, right? Because Ace King suited, it's like you're blocking kings and aces and you're suited, like you got everything, right? Um I'm trapping aces a lot, probably like half the time. Because right, I don't do it all the time because I still want to have aces. But hands like jacks, I'm never four betting, right? Because best case scenario, I'm just getting up against ace king, and that's still a flip. Why? Can you please just work 100? And probably queens too. Like, um, see, this is really it's really tough because I don't want to have the second nut flush draw. So in like these suited connectors, I don't love because what it means that if I have king jack, king 10, queen jack, queen 10, jack 10, is that if I hit the board, they likely hit the board stronger. Does that make sense? Yeah, we're on the button now. We've just called, right, with queen 10 suited. If we've hit the board, right, they just hit it harder, right? So we just have to out straight them, right? And that just gets, you're just going to get coolered a lot more, right? Yeah. So 10-9, what happens when we hit our straight from the top? Uh, no, sorry. What happens when it comes uh, queen jack, king queen, king queen jack, or what happens when we have 9-8 or 8-7 when it comes queen jack 10? When we have 9-8, it becomes queen jack 10, and a lot of money's going in the middle. Yeah, so we're looking for boards that we don't get coolered on, right? So now watch this. Even 8-7, we hate 8-7, but 7-6, 6-5, 5-4, and really like all of our pairs. If we're like that, now we only have. Can you see that number up there? 7.86. Yeah, like yeah, it's like our overall range out of the entirety of it all. It's seven out of yeah. If yeah, if every single combo is 100%, right? Right now we're only calling with around 8%, whereas uh, and we are adjusting to um, we're adjusting because big blind is only raising like 4.7%. So now we're going to create our solution again. Let's go any random board. Give me a good one. King 5-3, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's something you have to pay for, the custom solutions. Yeah, this is if you pay for it, and now and then you. Yeah, yeah, you can pick post flop. If you pay more, you could start doing pre flop stuff. I haven't worked with it because it's new, um, but that's probably really really powerful. This one says add a position big blind in position button, and what's cool is that now they have these incentives. So like you can actually pick player profiles. I haven't done it yet because I like to do it myself. You're like, oh, this dude's a nit. Yeah, it's pretty cool, but I haven't used it much because they just came out with it. So, do you have any more questions about this? Yeah, no, this is pre-flop, right? Yeah, so this is the last action before going to the flop. All right, cool. No, this is creating yeah, it's creating a range that you may find, right, in your game, right? So, and I'm going to tell you this, you have to be very, very careful because what's going to happen, and this is the beauty of it, right? This is the complete beauty of it. GTO, and this is what I mean by GTO is that mathematically, right now, with these two ranges set up against each other, right? On 8-6 deuce, which is low and disconnected, right? We're gonna have 6-7. We're gonna have some gut shots here, right? They're saying to bet. They're gonna bet pretty much all of their hands, including Ace King offsuit, a huge sizing, right? 67%, right? Right. So like, and they're gonna check back sometimes, right? But let's go ahead and say no. Let's just look at this, right? So when they bet 6-7, right? Our queens are calling, our jacks are calling. Look at the hands now that are like kind of iffy. Some of these overpairs are like, I don't care, right? But what, right? So what we're doing now is we're just fucking trapping these dudes because we know they're gonna fucking keep betting on any turn. They want to get their aces all in. They've been waiting all day for fucking aces, right? But we're now positioned to continue with look how much of our range. It's different. One, we're in position, right? So we get the last laugh, right? We get the last laugh. We get to bet last, right? And we are not afraid of them not putting money into the pot. Yeah. Now, what do you see sometimes, right? On these flops, and we're gonna have to end shortly after this. Um, what do you know if this player does this? And this is where the node locking comes in, right? So say they're betting 67% with their aces, kings, queens, and jacks, and say they're betting smaller with another part of their range, right? So now I'm implementing two parts of their range, right? Obviously, using that small sizing is never good. But say we know this player that when they have ace king or ace queen, right? And let's say that when they have ace king and ace queen of that isn't spades, right? The black of spades, 8-6 or spades, right? So now this is node locking, right? So what we're gonna do, right, is say first we're gonna do this. We're gonna go. This is the 67% bet. Say they're never checking back aces, kings, queens, and jacks. They're always betting 67%, right? Yeah. Yeah, and it's happening 100% of the time. They're always betting 67% of the pot with queens, jacks, kings, and aces. Now, say with ace king, they're using a smaller sizing, right? No, it's 8-6 deuce, right? So say ace king and ace queen, and actually, you know what I should be doing is hold on, sorry. I'm going to give them, watch this. I'm going to give them some small bets with ace king of spades, right? I'll give them a bluff. I'll give them one bluff. Ace queen of spades, right? And oh yeah, king queen of spades, and then so we're giving them bluffs, right? And ace jack of spades. So those are only bluffs, four combos, right? Ace king of spades, ace queen of spades, ace jack of spades, king queen of spades, right? Those are their flush draws, right? And they're betting small. Say they are checking back ace king offsuit 75% of the time, ace queen offsuit 25% of the time. They're betting 33% pot. Um, and then I guess yeah, it really doesn't matter. But what we'll do is we'll do lots of checks here, and then I'll just say this. I'm not saying this is anyone. What I'm saying is that now we have looked. Can you still hear me? Okay, cool. Sorry, I thought it went out. Let's say king queen. They are just not betting that, right? They're just checking it 100% unless they have the flush draw. This is node locking, right? What I've done is I have approximated their strategy, right? This is the big blind strategy. I am, yes, right? And now I hit apply. See how it, um, that was weird. Sorry. Let me redo. Unlock, relock. Okay, sorry, I have to redo this. Let's go 8. Sorry, I must have fucked something up. Let's go 8-6 deuce now, like this. Um, and we're going to add a size for 33. Yeah, this is big blind. We're still doing the same thing. I didn't hit a button. Um, so I have to unlock first. Then we know that they're over pairs. There's betting. We know stop it. All right, 25%, 70%. Let's just go this. Let's go this. And then this. This. Just say it's like that. This is 100% check. Right. And this is. No. Why would you do that? Okay, you're hurting my feelings. All right, we're just gonna give them. We're gonna give them this. Okay. See if it works. Just we're running out of time, and I want to. It's pretty much approximately all the same shit. Why are they? This is really pissing me off. All right, I'm gonna do another. I'm just gonna do another stark example. I'm really sorry, uh, because for some reason this is being really fucking retarded, and now I'm getting pissed. Uh, yes, with this. All right, great, great. And all right, cool. Yeah, I know. No, that's. I love that. All right, cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, cool. So say we're opening every single pair, right? These are suited fives. Oh, sorry. So what suited fives are? It means 6 5, 7 5, 8 5, 9 5 suited, 10 5 suited, Jack 5 suited, Queen 5 suited. Suited fives. So, sorry. When I say suited fives, well, okay, well, actually 6 5, even though of course it is a suited five, I wouldn't really call it a suited five, even though it's a. But think about it like this, right? You're just looking vertically down the until you meet the pair. That's what I mean by suited fives. Until you meet the pair, we are doing suited fives is everything north up to ace. So it encapsulates every single. No, I wanted to say it's a suited connector. Yeah, I mean because what I because we add 6 5 before we add in 8 5 suited, right? Into our range, like in a linear range, which is like, oh, a suited connector comes before a suited double gapper, right? So that's why I would say like it's really like 8 5, 9 5, 10 5, Jack 5. Those are our suited fives. But it just you just look down the list, right? And then when we say offsuit fives, that just means all my offsuit fives. It depends what range we're talking about. All right, so small blind. Okay, by the this is yeah. Okay, so limpers is you have to tighten up so much. You can't raise a small blind range. What I would probably if there are two limpers in front, I would probably start raising like a cutoff range. Like, no, not a big blind range. Like maybe this, maybe even because you have to be so much tighter. Once people enter the pot, um, like you have and you're out of position, you have to play against multiple people and you have to fight being out of position. So you have to win more often. The only way to win more often, right, is is by being tighter and either bluffing them or hitting hands that are better than their hands. So I would like out of position. You have to start being tighter. So like yeah, you want to be really tight when you're small blind, right? And against two limpers and against a limper, and then like if you three limpers, right? I would go even tighter, right? And it's completely fine to not join into the limping party, right? Like if you are in the small blind and four people limp in and you have a hand like queen six offsuit, Like just fold. You're never going to win that pot enough to justify calling. Sorry, small blind. Oh no, 5-10. Yeah. So like you're just never going to win enough. So it's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Never. And this is going to go back to our pre-flop strategy, and my pre-flop strategy always says this is that I always want to keep the worst player in the pot, right? So there are times when if a reg who's like really tight and I have queens, like the reg opens and I have queens, I might just flat because I know that the big blind's coming along and he is dog shit terrible, right? We're, yeah, or like yeah, just I mean, not even trap him, just like I don't want to be playing pots heads up, and I'm not isolating the reg, right? Unless I can really cooler their 4-bet range. Like, why would I isolate the reg who's going to make really good decisions post flop? Or I could keep big blind in the hand who fucking sucks. Yeah, it's like you're not gonna. You have to have a really sound strategy to get big blinds money. You know. So, but that is for another day when we talk about pre-flop stuff. Let's wrap up right now. Um, yeah, I would use that. I would use that. That's great. Sure. Offsuit eights. Yeah. So this is offsuit eights, right? Yeah. So no. Okay. But but when we're talking about a button range and we're talking about what is it, suited sixes or suited fives? Right. Yeah. Sorry. Uh. Yeah. Right. It, right. It doesn't mean that we stop at ace eight though, right? Because we are still opening ace seven and ace five and ace four, right? So it doesn't mean we stop, but it does mean everything on this horizontal line, we yeah, we call, but we don't call any of this bullshit. I mean, or sorry, we don't raise any of this bullshit, but sometimes we are raising king seven, I would imagine. Like there are ways around it, but when we say offsuit eights, it means that is everything. You're never not opening that, right? An offsuit eight, right? And then you're like, oh, do I want to go a little bit wider? I can, throw in king six off. Like you start, okay, where's my best hand from here? If I want to go a little bit wider, it's king six, right? If this is my normal button range, right? And I'm like, okay, I want to go a little bit wider. What's my next best hand? And I would tell you that your next best hand is going to be king four. I mean, queen four. Well, probably king deuce, and then queen four, right? And that's how we get wider. That's how we get you know um, when we want to compress our range. That's we start taking away like, oh, maybe not ace, maybe not king six. Sorry, maybe not king six, maybe not ace seven, right? Maybe not queen four. Maybe not. We're gonna go like 3% less. That's how we build our range. All right, cool, buddy. All right, fuck yeah, bro. That was a lot of fun. Six, yeah, yeah. Today was a weird day because I have something, but I usually never have something. I will. All right, cool, buddy. Rock a buddy. See ya.